And thank you for joining me. So today we are talking about becoming a superhero, unleashing your superhero when it comes to authentically having sales conversations. So the reason we're talking about this today, hey there, the reason we're talking about this today is it's just a popular topic among those of us in the health and wellness and the clinical holistic space. Sales conversations are not our favorite thing always. And so what I wanted to do with this lesson is to help you to unleash that superhero inside of you that can really have those conversations where you're going to be enrolling more and more people comfortably. All right. So we've got 10 items. I keep wanting to hit my computer here. Give me a second, you guys. There we go. Hopefully you can still see me. There we are. Yeah. All right. So this 10 steps, I'm still stalling here for a couple more people to come on. People keep telling me, I miss your thing every time. I don't know that you're going on. And so we have the reminder there, but sometimes you can't always see it. All right. So we've got, let me look at my notes here. We've got 10. We've got 10 things for you that we're going over today that's really going to help you to unleash that sales conversation hero and help you to feel authentic as you're having the conversations. And if you have gotten the Mood and Money Challenge, or you're watching this and you're in the Mood and Money Challenge, this conversation is actually going to be added to Mood and Money Challenge because we're talking about some similar topics, and it's going to be a great addition to that challenge. So if you're listening to this, make sure you also get Mood and Money Challenge. It's free, but you've got some action items in that challenge that I want to make sure that you get done. So let's get started. The very first thing is mastering your mood. So what does that mean? It's the mood about you yourself. So this is why I say this particular one, number one, is very similar to what we talk about in the Mood and Money Challenge. When you have a mood of, I don't know that what I'm offering is exactly what people are looking for. I don't really know how to talk about it. I feel like I have a good service or a good offer, or I've got all these certifications and licenses. But then when it comes to me explaining it or talking about it, I feel uncomfortable. Part of that has to do with your mood, your mindset, your belief in you and what it is that you bring. So point number one, you've really got to embrace the idea of belief in you and what it is that you do, believing it, right? So we've got to make sure that result, that problem that we solve, we really have seen the effect of it, and that's going to help your belief. So belief in yourself and belief in the service that you provide. Let's have that be like proof positive that we can feel comfortable in these conversations. And we're going to talk about that more in some of the other points. But the very first one, again, is your mood and embracing belief in you and your product or your service. Okay, so it's number one. Number two, building rapport and connection. So what does that have to do with becoming a sales superhero? When you have a connection with the people that you're serving or you want to serve, it becomes really easy to have that sales conversation. Here's why. When you're talking to a friend and you're out with your friend and you guys are talking and your friend says, I have this horrible heartburn all the time. Like it just keeps coming back. My doctor says, this particular medication is no longer working. I'm not sure what to do. And that's your friend, and you know something in particular that's going to work. It's worked for you. It's worked for other clients. It's worked. What are you automatically? It's just you and your friend talking. Do you now all of a sudden feel uncomfortable to say, oh girl, let me tell you exactly what to do. I'm working with this gut health expert. And ever since I've started working with her, things are clicking along. This is exactly what she had me do. You should totally try this. And you're excited about it. You're comfortable. The difference in those conversations is the relationship and the rapport you have with that person, right? All of a sudden, when we're talking to a prospective client, and because we're now going to talk about a money exchange, we get uncomfortable. Well, what if the thing that you go on Amazon and you say, hey, it's right here. You can actually purchase it right here. So we're talking about money. It's just that you're not the receiver of that money. And so all of a sudden it's comfortable. A lot of it has to do with building rapport. So make sure as you are building your leads list, don't just have these people be names on the list, but get to know them, talk to them about what's going on in their business. This is what we do a lot. A lot of you we're having conversations with right now. Of course, some of you we want to serve. Some of you aren't a match for us and we're not a match for you. But either way, as we speak to our community, we have a genuine interest of what's going on in your life. What's going on in your life? What's going on in your business? What are your challenges? What are your triumphs? Celebrating with people. All of that you want to include in what you're in what your those conversations, because by building that rapport and that connection, the connection that you have with folks that you're talking to, it's going to help you to immediately calm down when you're having those sales conversations. And here's where the authenticity comes in, because you're feeling so solid in what it is that you're talking about. You're connected to these people. These aren't just random people to you. You know a little bit about their business. You know a little bit about what to offer or what to suggest because you've been having conversations over what they would like to see more of. So this is so important. Another thing that you can do around this is that you can, doing polls for your community, having email campaigns where you're finding out what people really want. It's a back and forth. It's a relationship that you build. I believe in having relationships. There are a lot of marketers out there that are saying, no, like people don't want to have a relationship with you. They just want the end result of what you offer. I believe in building rapport and having a connection because it really sets you up to be able to have these beautiful conversations with people where you never feel like you're selling. They don't feel like you're selling. And you really are solving a problem. It makes for a beautiful business. And I highly recommend the approach of building rapport and connection from the beginning. All right, number 3. Effective communication. So here what we're highlighting is clarity. So we talk about this so much. Everybody's kind of tired of hearing the word clarity. So let me use a different word and a different way of talking about this. Being persuasive. So sometimes when we hear words like that, we hear being persuasive, using persuasion, we feel that icky thing. Well, that's what I don't like about marketing and sales because it's persuading somebody to do something they don't want to do. Well, think about it this way. We don't want to persuade people to do things that they don't want to do. Well, we do want to encourage people and to do it in a way that moves them to action. So when we talk to someone in a way that moves them to action, that is persuasion. And we want to do that if what we have to offer genuinely is something that's going to benefit them. And we know that, right? So we go back to the example of our friend and we're having lunch and they're telling us about this thing. We're probably going to be a little persuasive. Like, you got to try this. Why not? It's not going to be harmful. It's something that's all natural. It's coming from someone who had the same kind of issues that we have. All of that is persuasion. What about when you're talking to your children about what to eat? Now, some parents don't. Some parents say, you eat whatever you feel for. But some parents say, you know what? I understand you have a craving for chocolate cake, but we're not going to eat chocolate cake for morning and noon and night. We're going to help you to develop a taste buds for something that's going to nourish you. Okay? So that conversation is also persuasion. What if your child wants to sit in front of the TV 24/7? 24/7. And you say, I feel like that might not be the healthiest thing. I feel like you might need to get outside some. I can remember very clearly my mom telling me and my sister and my brother, why don't you guys go play outside? And we didn't want to. We wanted to stay inside. But she was like, why don't you go play outside? And we would do it. And before you knew it, we were running around and not even realizing we were helping our heart and our whole body systems by moving, right? And that's persuasion, helping someone to understand, let's do this differently. Why not? Let's try this because I know it's actually going to be helpful to you. Okay. All right. So point number 4. Point number 4 is a needs assessment. This is important. This is going to help you in the sales conversation. It's going to help you with the authenticity so that you feel you're really being you and you're really sitting in a conversation that has some meaning to it. How? A needs assessment is where you find out the real challenge that your client is having, the real one. And not only what they say. So let's use a fitness instructor as an example. And you have a client that says, I need to lose that last 20, 30 pounds. I need to lose 100 pounds. I need to stop eating like a crazy person. I need to all these things. So they have the thing that they feel like they need, and that's what they're coming to you for. But as the professional, your needs assessment is going to go a little bit beyond that. So you're going to be speaking to them about why they're eating this way, why they're holding on to the weight. You're going to go beyond that. Do you see what I'm saying? So by you having conversations with them that are deeper than just, okay, you want to lose 100 pounds? I'm your girl. I'm going to help you lose 100 pounds. It's $2,000. Let's get started. So yeah, that may not feel like a nice, authentic sales conversation because you really haven't talked about the person's needs. So a needs assessment, getting into a little bit deeper about the why behind what's going on, it's going to be different. So if you're sitting across from that person and they're talking, you're listening and you're really listening. This is a big part of the needs assessment. Listen to your clients. I got a story for you around that. Listen to your potential clients and see what it is that they're telling you about what they need. And so they're talking about how they eat and the pattern of it. And as a professional, you're thinking of some things as to why this is happening. And so you ask some questions. You ask questions and you start to get to the heart of what's really going on with this person. So instead of saying, hey, you want to lose 100 pounds? I got you $2,000. Let's go. Then you can say, you know what, Renee, I hear what you're saying. And no doubt a lot of these cravings and patterns of eating have to do more with just needing to take in calories. In my program, I'm actually going to address why you feel the need to eat the way that you do and give you reasonable steps instead of something drastic, something reasonable and progressive that's going to help you to want to balance what it is that you put in your mouth. And along with the fitness, we're going to work together gradually to take you down on the scale the way you want to, but inside you're also going to love who's in there more and more and more. And you're going to love who's looking back at you in the mirror, not just because she's lost pounds each week, but because she's gained so much back of who she is. So in order to start the program, here's where we start. This is the link. The very first session, we're going to do XYZ. The investment is $3,500. It's going to take you for this many months. And at the end of that, you are going to feel like yourself again. You're going to feel better than you've ever felt before. You're going to understand everything that you need to do forever to keep yourself in this situation, to keep yourself losing when you need to lose, balancing when you need to balance, gaining muscle. You're going to know from now on. So this is an investment for the future. It's not just now. It's not just telling you what to eat. It's not just giving you a menu of recipes, but it's an investment in you and your future. So this is how we get started, and you go on. It feels better, right? It's authentic because why? You understood what it was that this person needed from you, really needed. And so that's what you were speaking to. And so here's the story I was going to give you. Real life story. It's a friend of mine who was looking for a fitness coach. And I thought, well, that'll be easy. She was looking for not a fitness coach. She was looking for a health coach. And everybody that she went to assumed that she wanted to lose weight. She didn't want to lose weight. She liked her curves. She didn't plan on losing them. What she wanted was to have more energy. And after going through, I think she said like 10 different phone calls and coffee chats and all this, nobody got to that point, and nobody could really, and even if she mentioned the energy thing, everybody talked to her about a weight loss program because in their mind she was overweight. You see what happens when we don't listen to the prospective clients and we haven't assessed the needs. So here there is this whole market of people who like their curves. They're not trying to lose weight, but they may be looking for a health professional because they want to gain more energy. They don't like that they're tired all the time. So when you're in a sales conversation with someone like that, Your job then is to find out from them what is it that they really are looking for. So in that case, when I sit with her, instead of saying, you know what, we're going to get you to lose 30 pounds in the first, 6 months that we're together. She don't want to lose 30 pounds. You want to lose anything. Instead, it would be, I get it. So your energy is low because of XYZ. This is why your energy is most likely low. In the program, the first couple of visits, we're going to do some assessments. We're going to have some blood work done. We're going to do this and this. And then we'll get started on increasing your energy. By the end of your 6 months with me, your 8 months, your year with me, you're going to be able to understand exactly why you lost energy, how to keep that from ever happening again, how to eat, think, live, and move in a way where your energy sustains. Now, yeah, they may end up losing some pounds. They may gain some muscle, not what they care about. So that is where the authentic sales conversation comes in, is you get to talk to them about how to do this and how to do what it is that they're looking to do. Needs assessment. All right. So that was number 4, needs assessment. Number 5, objections. Here is where a lot of the sales conversations end because, hey, Aroma Flower Healing, thank you for joining live. So here's where a lot of the sales conversations get awkward, the objections. The objections. Because when we hear an objection, we feel like the conversation should stop. So let's go back to my example, and we're talking about the energy levels, and the person says, oh, yeah, that's true. But you know what? Actually, I feel like I can probably just institute having some green drinks every day. That'll get my energy up. And then what I'll do is I'll save up for this program, and maybe I'll do it later. So what happens for some of us, we hear that objection and it's just like, okay, well, they don't want it. Here's another failed call. Your countenance just drops, your face, your energy level just goes away. And that objection has now ended the call. If you've been on if you've been to Boulder Book with me before, we get into this conversation about sales conversations. And I always say, no is not no forever. It may not always be. Sometimes it is because it's just not a fit. What you do, how you do, and it's just not going to align with everybody. You're looking for those people that it does align with, right? But sometimes no is just a place to start. It's just understanding one another. So when you get these objections, start getting excited about objections, because objections give you data. They give you something to learn. What are most people objecting to? How are they making objections? Know it ahead of time before you get into the conversation, because you'll be ready to address it. Our clients, our prospective clients, almost everybody that we're working with now or have worked with, they have a couple of objections. One is the cost. I just can't invest in that right now. It's way out of my budget. 2, I'm going to wait. I'm going to try this other thing. I'm already in a course. I'm already doing this. Hey there. Hey, Danny. I'm already doing this or that. So let me finish that, and then I'll come into your program. So we already know that we're going to get those. So we already have responses ready for those. Okay. What are yours? What are the common objections that you're getting when you have these calls? So make it something that is exciting to you. And that's something, it doesn't feel like an objection in the sales conversation would be fun, but it is a great thing because it's giving you data, and it's going to help you to speak to people authentically, and it really will make you a sales superhero. Because when you already know what a person is thinking, what their hesitations are, you can start to speak to that. Another thing that I do on a regular basis, we have a high percentage of conversions in our sales conversations. And I feel like this is one of the reasons. I will ask people directly how they feel. How do you feel about this offer? Put the price aside and let me know what you really feel about the offer. That lets me know, am I even talking to the right person? Once I know that they really do like the offer, then we can go from there. If they don't really like the offer, or they feel like there's parts of it that they don't need, then we can have a conversation about maybe customizing it or maybe putting them into a different program. So don't be afraid to ask people how they feel about your offer. It's just a conversation. What happens is we take it very personally. And then so if somebody objects, or they say no, or they say not now, or they say this, it doesn't sound interesting to me, I don't need that. Each one of those conversations can crush the spirit and crush the spirit and crush the spirit. So many of you are dealing with years of being crushed and being now so afraid to even ask. You keep lowering your prices and lowering your prices because you think that's going to make it easier, and it actually doesn't. So what you really want to do is to learn how to overcome these objections in an authentic way and just be real with people and talk to them about it. Sometimes we don't want to talk about the elephant in the room. You think my price is too high. All right. So let me talk to you about, let's break this down and let's talk about how, always talk to people about the exponential growth. Remember, I talked earlier about the example of the friend who had the gut issue, or the person who was looking for more energy. Once this person learns your method and they get it and they can go from now on with more energy, they will always know these tips for years, for decades. They can pass it on to their friends and their family and their children, right? So when you look at things like that and you're able to talk to people about what happens after the long-term results of what it is they're getting from you, it changes how you feel about that conversation, and it changes how they feel. So do not be afraid of objections, embrace them, and don't be afraid to talk about that elephant in the room. All right, that was number 5, overcoming objections. Number 6 is create compelling solutions. So we talked about this a little bit earlier, and now I want to get into it a little bit more. You want to make sure that the solution, the problem that you solve, that you're doing for your client, that solution, you need to make sure that it really does solve their real problem. Their real problem. It needs to be compelling. It needs to be, and a lot of us know this. We know we're supposed to be speaking to what keeps them up at night. We're supposed to be talking about their pain point, their challenge. Like, we know that. All right, but what makes the difference and what makes it authentic and what's going to make you a sales superhero is that you go beyond the surface of what a person is saying that they need. As someone who, and I'll use Danny as an example because Danny's on here live. So Danny helps people to learn aromatherapy in a very simple way. She is a licensed social worker and a professional certified aromatherapist, and she's combined those skills to help people to learn aromatherapy in a way that they can incorporate it in their homes. They don't need to be certified. They don't need to spend hours and years in a lab. They can learn simple approaches to use this at home. So for Danny, she's got to think about what problem is she really solving for them. It can't just be, oh, I'm looking for people who love the way essential oils smell. That's not far enough. So for example, Danny and I just had a session. Danny's a client. So we've talked about in detail what it is that person is really looking for. Why would they really need your course? You've got to go a step beyond. You've got to go a step beyond. She knows that her clients have dealt with skin issues, rashes, burns, eczema, psoriasis from using toxic latent products. And they're not trying to be a health and wellness expert. They just want to stop hurting. And they want to be able to know how to do this effectively in their own home. And they want to be able to help their children do it too. It's about a whole lot more than just inhaling some oils. So this is what you need to do. You need to make sure that your solution is compelling. There's a deeper reason for doing it, getting involved in what your solution is, other than what they may come with. You remember the example I gave you earlier? We talked about the person who just says, I need to lose 100 pounds. I need to lose 30 pounds. But there's more to it than that. Why do they want to lose it? Why now? So we've got to make sure that our solution is really compelling and we're talking to them about those things and what's unique about their particular challenge. That's another reason why we have to be so clear about who it is that we're supporting. So that was number 6. 6. I did the sign language 6. So it's number 6. Number 7 is storytelling and an emotional connection. So this kind of goes with point number, building rapport. So we talked about building rapport in number 2. The difference between building rapport and number 2 and number 6, the storytelling, is that you've got to weave in, like say you're doing a master class, you're coming to that part where you're going to be talking about your solution. You've got to talk about the emotion behind that decision. This is not being, I don't know what word people use. It's not being icky. It's not taking advantage. It's talking to people about what they care about. And it's talking about those elephants in the room. And it's being real with people. This is where the authenticity comes in. And this is what makes you a sales superhero. Because you are talking about the real talk. All right? This is not about what I just mentioned, just how an essential oil smells. It's not just about the fact that you've broken out even. It's about how it feels to feel unsafe. It's about how it feels to go to a store and know that you can't pull anything off the shelf. It's about how it feels to not know how your day is going to go because you may have a flare up at any time because of something in your environment. What that feels like, what that's done to your life. People want to talk about that. They want a place that they can express and somebody understands what it is that they've gone through. If you're that person who needs to lose the 30 or 100 pounds, it's more than just about that. It's what it feels like to carry that weight around, how you feel about yourself, how your body is different and not moving the way you want, what you've given up, what you haven't participated in because you didn't feel good. That person who needed the more energy, right? It's what's happened in your life because you didn't have that energy. It's evoking emotion and not being afraid to talk about real talk, not being afraid to have those conversations. And being all uncomfortable and icky is about you. You're making it about you instead of making it about the person. What does this person need? If you don't have a solution, then you shouldn't be sitting in front of them. If you have a solution, then be there for them by going ahead and talking about the things that they need and why they need it. So don't be afraid of real talk. Go there and tell stories, like all the different stories that I just weaved in. Tell real life stories, that you know of or that you've heard of or you've been a part of, your own and others as well. It's going to help you to connect. All right, number 8 is confidence and authenticity. This goes back, it's closely related to number 1. So in number 1, we talked about the belief system. So the difference between number 1, having that belief system in yourself and embracing that, and number 8 is that this one is specifically talking about your authentic self. So owning and embracing what is authentically you and what's unique about you and what's different about you. And it's not always a positive. It's not always a positive. So this is what's different about number 8. We're looking now at some of the things that you actually don't like, that you wish were a little different, that you're working on. By you embracing that, even talking about it, I talked a lot about being awkward, kind of fumbling sometimes and not knowing how to do certain things. And I'm definitely not the most polished person. And I'll come on in all kinds of ways and talk to you guys. And maybe that's something that can be improved. Maybe you guys like it. I don't know. Either way, I embrace it. It's authentically me. So what you want to do is to think about what are some of those things that you kind of shy away from, that you wish were different, that you do differently than other people do. Man, this YouTuber is so amazing. They talk about a similar topic and their background is perfect and the lighting is perfect and they look perfect. And then there's me, And so you feel that. And so what I'm saying is look at those things that may not be a positive to other people and maybe even to you and embrace it. This doesn't mean that you're saying I'm perfect. I don't need to work on anything. Take me as I am or don't take me at all. It's not even that. It's just saying there are things that are authentically me. This is who I am. This is who I am. And so by you embracing that and getting comfortable in it, even while maybe you're working on some of it, let's go to that person who's trying to lose the weight. So maybe it's 30 or 100 pounds they're trying to lose, and maybe they're a business owner and they're sitting in front of someone. And because they haven't embraced their own body and themselves, they may feel really uncomfortable even addressing someone or asking them to invest in them in any kind of way because they don't like the way that they look. That makes sense? But when you embrace your authentic you, all of it, whatever that is, it allows you, it gives you permission to now speak to this person about investing in you, their time and their resources, because you've embraced you and you've invested in you. You can't ask other people to do it when you haven't done it. It keeps it from being an authentic conversation. So there's where you're going to get a lot of the awkwardness, and awkwardness is fine. We can work through that. But nerves, and you feel like you're not being genuine, and it's just super uncomfortable for you and the person that you're talking to. And it's all because there's so many conversations going in here about what you haven't done right, what you haven't said right, what their objection and you didn't come back with, and all these things, right? Embrace who you are so that you can get that stuff out of the way. It's not in the middle of the conversation. Sometimes we're having conversations with people. We're doing a masterclass or we're doing a one-on-one. We're having a sales conversation. And there's so many other people in the room with us. There are people who have talked down to us and been mean to us and didn't like us or told us we weren't good enough. All those people are in the room with you. And what I'm saying is invite them to leave, invite them to exit, and just let it be you. Embrace who you are. And that's going to allow you the space to have authentic conversations. And that superhero is going to come right on out. All right, that was number 8. Number 9 is following up and relationship building. So the difference between this one, I want to tell you the differences so you can see what's happening. We talked about building rapport and connection in number 2. This one is different because this is talking about that being actively following up with people and building that relationship. So in number 2, we talked about building that rapport. Well, part of that in number 8 is about following up. So much happens in follow-up. So much happens in follow-up. So a lot of you have started your businesses over and over and over and over again because you felt like, I did a master class. I did a year's worth of master classes. Nobody signed on, or only a couple of people signed on. How many of those people over the time that you were having conversations with who asked you about your program, asked you about your product, did you follow up with? We want to have enough people that we can follow up on. So how do we do that? Many of you who've popped in here, we've had like 7 people pop in. Many of you, it's because the team or me or the team have reached out and said, hey, Renee's doing a live. Come and check out, what she's going to be talking about. And then we'll follow up. Did you like it? Was it good? We get great feedback, and we get some feedback that's like, hey, that didn't help me. So it's all good. Be open to all of it. Follow up with people. See, sometimes fear keeps us from following up because we're afraid they're going to say, don't follow up on me anymore, or I didn't like what you were talking about, or I don't need that. It's okay. All of it is good. All of it is okay. All right. So you want to build on relationships. Don't be afraid of the conversations. All right. Open yourself up to that. And it's going to allow you to follow up and to build some real relationships. It's the way that we do business. And like I said, you'll hear different marketers speak about this differently. But I love the idea of actually working with people who are my friends. I just had a session with Meredith. I love Meredith. Like, we have such a good time. Danny, who's on here live, we have such a good time, don't we, Danny? And I particularly want that kind of business. I don't want just transaction after transaction. I want to be able to log in and have a coaching session with somebody that I know. Like I said, Meredith and I just talked for over the time we were supposed to, and we're cracking up laughing. And it's just joy. That's the kind of practice I have, and I love it. So that's why I encourage you to go ahead and do this relationship building. And let me tell you, some of the people that you're talking to now, you may not work with for a year. It's okay. Sometimes we're so used to instant gratification that if somebody doesn't say yes to our product or our service, kind of quickly we feel like, okay, they don't get it. They're not a good client or a good prospect. And the thing is, some of the people that I'm working with today followed me a long time before they became a client. Danny, how long did you follow us before you became a client, if you remember? How many of my free sessions did you come to? I know for several of people, it was a couple of years. Some people it's a couple of months. Some people it's a couple of weeks. Some people the first time they saw me. But most we had to follow up on. Most we had to follow up on. Over 90% of our high ticket clients we had to follow up on. So don't be afraid to do that. It's all part of the relationship building. So that's number 9. And your last one, number 10, continue to learn and grow. So this is important. This is really, really important for all of us. And see, all of us, we're licensed professionals, we're certified professionals. We have to have continuing education anyway, right? Make sure when you go for your continuing education that you are going for something that's going to keep you really up to date with the latest in the industry. We're going to be teaching classes over the next, listen out for it, the team will tell you, but over the next weeks and months on how to use AI with messaging. We have to, because it is here to stay. It is what everybody is using. And if they're not using it, they will be. And we want to teach you how to use it properly so that you can have authentic communication. But that's the kind of thing that you want to be doing. What is the latest in your industry? What is the latest? What's going on? What's going on in the news? What are the newest tools? You want to be in the know. So keep up to date with those things, learning and growing, learning and growth consistently. And don't just take a class to get your continuing education and move on. Take a class that's really going to keep you up to date and be open to new techniques and new ways of doing things. So as you know, as licensed counselors and professionals, you have your method of how you help your client, but there might be a new thing that you can do. Our client Maria, she helps holistic practitioners, people who are already certified, people who are already using Reiki and EFT and all these things, but she helps them introduce aromatherapy into what they're already doing. So be open to not shiny object syndrome. It's different. It's updating. What's the latest? What could I be using in my practice? Is this something that aligns with me? Is this going to upgrade what I'm currently doing? So be open to that, and not so this is how we do things. This is how we've been doing things for years. Think about it like this. When you go to your doctor and you go to a specialist, let's think about gynecologists, ladies. Don't you appreciate one who can talk to you about the latest surgeries, tools, drugs? Don't you appreciate the ones who are open to our holistic world? Because they're up to date and they're not still talking about what used to be, because the holistic community is here to stay. And so we appreciate our, physicians in traditional medicine who are on board, get on board with what's here to stay. So think about that and continue to educate yourself so that you can stay on top of trends, of what people are talking about, so you can speak intelligently about those things to your clients. Now, some of them are going to be things that you're not in alignment with, and that's fine. Talk about that. Talk about why you're not in alignment with it. It's going to help your ideal client to be able to see you. So those 10 things are what will make you a superhero in sales conversations. You're going to be authentic. You're going to be calm. You're going to be at peace as you're talking to people, and you are going to enroll more people in your practice or your school. I can promise you that. So follow these tips. Like I said, we're going to make this part of the Mood and Money Challenge. So if you're in the challenge or you're thinking about getting into the challenge, it's free. Go ahead and sign up for the Mood and Money Challenge. We're going to add this recording into that. And we're also going to be talking to you about Bold and Booked, because Bold and Booked is the event we're having in September. Bold and Booked is going to take all these conversations a whole lot further. And it's going to even take the Mood and Money Challenge further, because we're going to be actively doing these things together. So if you haven't taken a look at boldandbooked.com, take a look at what we're going to be doing over there. If you are a licensed therapist, counselor, social worker like Danny, if you're an emotional support coach, we really handle messaging for you. Clinical holistic practitioners and school owners who want to advance. There are things that are happening right now in business that you can do to advance, to have more clients. Yes, you have clients. Can you have more of them? Can you be working less time and earning more or the same? You can. And so we're going to show you how to do those things. So boldandbook.com. Dana, you get to come for free. All the clients get that. And so take a look at these top 10 over again. I will download this to our Instagram page. It'll also be included, like I said, in the Mood and Money Challenge, which is also free. So you'll be able to take a look at it again. Thank you so much. And thank you for all, I think it was 10 of you who popped on live. Thank you so much. Take care. Bye.